In this video, we are going to be solving multi-step inequalities. Solve the following inequality and we are going to be graphing our solution. So in this inequality, it's a two-step inequality and we are going to be solving it like we've been solving the two-step equations. So first we want to move the 9. It's a positive 9, so to move it to the other side, we have to subtract 9 on both sides. What you do to one side of the inequality, you must do to the other side. And so these 9's will cancel right here, and then we're going to bring down negative 4x, and then 21 minus 9 is 12, and then we also brought down our inequality. Now, remember our property, anytime that we multiply or divide by a negative number, we have to flip the inequality. So notice in front of x, we have a negative 4, and it's being multiplied. So in order to solve for x, we have to divide both sides by negative 4, which means that we're going to end up flipping the inequality. So first let's divide both sides by negative 4, and then the negative 4's will cancel over here, and so then we'll have at x is less than negative 3, because 12 divided by negative 4 is negative 3. Now there's no line or bar underneath the inequality, so that means that there's an open circle at negative 3. And since x is less than, we're going to be shading to the left. Alright, let's solve the following inequality again and graph the solution. So we have negative 6x minus 4 is less than or equal to 2 times the quantity x minus 10. So the first thing we need to do is, on the right side, we must distribute the 2. So I'm just going to copy down the negative 6x minus 4, and then I'm going to distribute the 2. So 2 times x is 2x, and then 2 times negative 10 is negative 20. So that's what I'm going to have. And then from here, I'm just going to pick something to move. And I usually like to start with a variable, and if I have a negative variable, I like to move that first. So since I have a negative 6x, I want to move that to the other side. So since it is a negative 6x, I'm going to be adding 6x to both sides of the inequality. And notice where I added the 6x, I added it with the 2x, because those are like terms. And then these negative 6x and this plus 6x, those cancel, they go away. And then I bring down negative 4 is less than or equal to, and then 2x plus 6x is 8x, and then I have minus 20. Now, once again, I want to get my variable by itself, my x by itself. So that means I got to get rid of and move this negative 20, this minus 20. So since it's minus 20, I'm going to be adding 20 to both sides of the inequality. And then I'm going to add negative 4 plus 20, which is 16. So 16 is less than or equal to 8x. And then to solve this for x, I must divide both sides of the inequality by 8. So then I have 2 is less than or equal to x. Now, I do not flip the inequality here because I did not multiply or divide by negative. But to graph it though, I'm going to rewrite my inequality so that my variable is on the left instead of the right, because to me that's easier to graph. So 2 less than or equal to x is the same as x is greater than or equal to 2, because the alligator is still eating the x, the larger number. So since there is a bar or a line underneath the inequality, we're going to have a closed circle at 2. And then since x is greater than or equal to 2, it's going to be shaded to the right. Let's solve the following inequality, and we're going to be graphing our solution. So once again, you just pick something to move. I like to start with a variable, and since I don't have a negative variable, I'm going to choose to move the smallest variable, which would be the 3x. And it's a positive 3x, so in order to solve this inequality, I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides, and 6x minus 3x is 3x, and then I'm going to bring down minus 1 is less than 8. And then to solve the rest of this inequality, I need to move my minus 1. I need to do the opposite, so I'm going to add 1 to both sides. And then I'm going to bring down my 3x, and this negative 1 and this plus 1, they cancel out. And then 3x is less than 8 plus 1, which is 9. Now, 3 and x are being multiplied, so to undo multiplication, I need to divide. I need to divide both sides by 3. So when I do that, 9 divided by 3 is just 3, so x is less than 3. And that's our answer. Now we're ready to graph. We didn't have to flip the inequality because we're not dividing. We didn't divide by a negative number or multiply by a negative number. So since there is no line or bar underneath the inequality, we're going to have an open circle at 3, and x is less than 3, so you're going to be shading to the left of 3. So that's what the graph would look like. And then finally, we are going to be solving the following inequality. 7 plus x divided by negative 2 is greater than or equal to 8. And so we must move 7 first. So we're going to be subtracting 7 on both sides. And this 7 and this 7, they cancel. And then I'm going to have x divided by negative 2 is greater than or equal to 1, because 8 minus 7 is 1. Now I am dividing by negative 2, so in order to solve this inequality, we must multiply both sides by negative 2, which is what I did here. This negative 2 and this negative 2 will cancel, and then 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. But since I multiplied to solve this inequality by a negative number, I must flip my inequality, and so now x is going to be less than or equal to negative 2, and now I'm ready to graph. So I'm going to be putting a closed circle at negative 2 since there is a line underneath the inequality, and then x is less than or equal to negative 2, and so I'm going to be shading to the left.